to another live English lesson. I think you can hear me, right? You can hear me, right? Okay. So today is going to be kind of quick. We have to study multiple lessons and ideas so we can finish our book soon, inshallah. And we have to start lesson 7 next week, inshallah. So, first of all, let us begin with the new lesson, which is lesson 5. Lesson 5 is titled Fuad Meets Yuki, right? So, as you can see, here Fuad, after Fuad's father told him that he is going to Japan, Fuad wanted to go with his father to Japan. Why? Because he wanted to meet his pen friend. It was the it was a chance for him to meet his pen friend. So he traveled with his father to Japan. And as you remember, first of all, Fuad sent a letter to Yuki telling him that he is coming to Japan, and he also received a reply from Yuki telling him that he will be waiting for Fuad and that he will take him to his uncle's house. Why? As you know and remember, because Yuki does not live in Tokyo while Fuad is going with his father to Tokyo. Why? Because his father has business there. So Yuki is going to his uncle's house in Tokyo so that he can meet Fuad. And he invited him to his uncle's house, as you remember, while his father, Fuad's father, could not go and stay in Yuki's uncle's house because he has some business to do, right? So here in this lesson, we meet Fuad at the airport in Tokyo. It means that Fuad and his father has arrived at the airport in Tokyo, and Yuki is there too. He is there to meet Fuad. So what do you think that will happen next? Of course, as you see, and as you expect, that Yuki is going to wait for Fuad at the airport so that he can take him with himself to his uncle's house. So now you are going to listen to 3 conversations between Fuad and other people, and I will ask you certain questions. Fuad is going to speak with Yuki and Yuki's father and Yuki's mother. So let us listen to these conversations.
Unit 6, Lesson 5, Track 38. Fuad meets Yuki, Band 1. Yuki and Fuad meet for the first time.
Hello, are you Fuad?
Yes, and you must be Yuki. Hello.
How do you do? Come and meet my parents.
Band 2. Yuki introduces Fuad and his father to his father.
This is my father. Dad, this is Mr. Salim, and this is Fuad.
How do you do, sir? How do you do? You're very welcome. Band 3. Next, Yuki introduces Fuad to his mother.
And this is my mother.
How do you do? It's nice to meet you.
How do you do? Welcome to Japan.
So now that you have listened to the 3 conversations between Fuad and Yuki and Yuki's family, so who does Fuad meet first? Who does Fuad meet first? Yuki. So Fuad meets Yuki first. Now the other question. Who does Yuki introduce Fuad to first? Who does Yuki introduce Fuad to first? His father. Yes. And the other question, who does Yuki introduce Fuad to next? Who does Yuki introduce Fuad to next? Exactly, his mother. So yes, as you heard, I used the word introduce. So what is meant by introduce? Introduce is the verb and the noun is introduction. Yes, so when I say that Yuki introduces Fuad to his father, it means that, as you say, يعرفه. And the word introduction, اللي هي it is the noun of the verb introduce, right? So as you listen to and the first and the for example in the first and second, I think that I lost the connection. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, now how about now? How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay, so as you listen to in these conversations, there was this type or way of introduction when Yuki introduces Fuad to his parents and when he introduces himself. So let us listen to the first 2 conversations so that we can comment on them.
Unit 6, Lesson 5. Track 38. Fuad meets Yuki. Band 1. Yuki and Fuad meet for the first time.
Hello, are you Fuad?
Yes, and you must be Yuki. Hello.
How do you do? Come and meet my parents.
Band 2. Yuki introduces Fuad and his father to his father.
This is my father. Dad, this is Mr. Salim, and this is Fuad.
How do you do, sir? How do you do? You're very welcome.
Couldn't you hear the conversation? I think you could. I didn't lose the connection. I was playing the conversation. Yes, Awab was listening to them. Okay, as you heard in these first 2 conversations, And as you can see in your book on page 47, look at these forms of introduction. When Yuki said, hello, how are you, Fuad? Are you Fuad? And how do you do? This is a question just like when you say, how are you? But it is more formal when you meet someone and you're not familiar with them yet. So this is a formal way of saying, how do you do? And how to answer this when someone tells you, how do you do? How to answer him, you should also say, how do you do? Okay? You should not say, I'm doing good. No. When someone says, how do you do? You should say, how do you do? Okay? And this is another, in this conversation, we see how Yuki introduces his father and Fuad's father to, he introduces his father to Fuad, and he introduces Fuad and his father to his own father. And if you pay attention, like Fuad, he says, how do you do, sir? And Mr. Uno, who is Yuki's father, he also says, how do you do? Right? And you know what is meant by you are very welcome. Right? Now, what else? Yes, exactly. So, what's Yuki's father name? You can do it. This is so easy for you. What is Yuki's father's name? Uno, Mr. Uno. And what is his mother's name? What is his mother's name? Yuki's father, he is Mr. Uno. M.R. Uno, as you can see here. And his mother is Mrs. Uno, right? M.R.S. Uno. And so, now, what is Yuki's full name? What is Yuki's full name? What do you think? Yuki Uno, yes, exactly. Yuki Uno, this is Yuki's full name. And Selim is Fuad's father, right? Yuki Uno, yes. So now let us read these two paragraphs and let us find out what they are all about. I want someone to read. Who can read these two? The first one. Who can read this one? Who can read this one? Okay, I will read it for you. And if you want to read it after me, you're welcome. Yuki introduced Fuad to his parents at the airport. Then they all went to Yuki's uncle's house by car. Yuki's father drove the car on the left. On the way, Fuad noticed many other strange things. Some people were wearing traditional clothes. The signs above the shops were in Japanese. Fuad could not understand a word, but it was a very interesting journey. So now, who can read it? I want someone courageous enough to read this paragraph before we ask any question about them. Okay, now let us listen to. Where are you? Zain? Zain, go on reading the first paragraph.
Fuad meets Yuki. Yuki, hello. Are you Fuad?
Zain,
Fuad?
read this paragraph only. The first one, the paragraph.
Yes. Yuki introduced Fuad to his parents and the airport. Then they all went to Yuki uncle's house to stay. Yuki father drove the car on the left. On the way, Fuad noticed many other strange things. Some people were wearing traditional clothes. The sign above the shops were in Japanese. Fuad could not understand a word, but it was a very interesting journey.
Thank you, Zain. But you made some mistakes, as you know. Now, this word is not pronounced as signs, it's signs. What is meant by signs? What is meant by signs? Science. Signs, not science. You have this word. No. You can see it. The signs above the shops were in Japanese. What is meant by signs? Now let us read the second one. Yes, exactly, Awab. Yes. Yes, sorry, Zain, not Yaman, yes. Yes, Zain, not Yaman. Yes, Zain read, sorry. Now, who can read the second one? I will read it, and let us see if any one of you can read it after me. At the house, Fuad and his father met the rest of Yuki's family. Yuki's uncle is a huge man. At first, Fuad was a little afraid of him, but Mr. Mitsubishi was very kind and friendly. Yuki's brother, Jiro, is 16. He is tall, thin, and very quiet. His sister, Reiko, is the opposite. She is 7 and she talks a lot. She spoke to Fuad in Japanese because she does not speak English. She laughs a lot too. Everyone was very friendly. So who can read it now? Only Zen? What about the others? You are sleeping. You can't. Adam can't read it. Okay, now let us listen to Zen again.
At the house, Fuad and his uncle met the rest of Yuki family. Yuki's uncle is a huge man. At first, Fuad was a little afraid of him, but Mer Mitsubishi was very kind and friendly. Yuki's brother, Giro, is 16. He is a tall, thin, and very quiet. His sister, Riko, is the opposite. She is seven, and she talk a lot. She spoke to Fuad in Japanese because she does not speak English. She she laughed a lot too. Everyone was very friendly.
Thank you, Zen, for being so active today. So now I think that we have to move to the activity book. Okay. The first exercise here, it tells us read page 47 of your student's book and find words that mean the following. Now it's all about meaning. So, the first one, while they were driving to the house. what word from the text which means while they were driving to the house? What word? Only Awab is answering me. Yes, exactly, Awab. It is on the way. It means while they were driving to the house. You can see this word in, or this expression in, let me show you the text in the first paragraph, right? Where is it? Who can read it? No one. Again. Oh, we have a newcomer. Who can read it? No one. On the way, Fuad noticed many other strange things. Wait a minute, please. Okay, sorry for that. Um, welcome, Asma. It's okay. Um, we all know that internet connection is so bad. So on the way, Fuad noticed many other strange things. So as Awab answered, the first one is on the way, because on the way it means while they were driving to the house. Now, number two, so. What word which means so? Yes, exactly, Awab. It is noticed. So on the way said it means while they were driving to the house, and noticed it means so, right? So number two, yes, exactly, lahada. Exactly, Awab. So now number three, new to him. What word which means new to him? What word which means new to him? Only Awab is answering me. The others are sleeping. Yes, exactly. Strange. So when something is strange, what do you mean by strange? Yes, exactly. Gharib. So if something is strange, so of course it is new to you, right? So new to him is strange. Asma, we are doing exercise A on page 74, which is based on the text of page 47 of the student's book. We read the text and now we are doing this exercise, and it's all about the meaning of these words. So here the exercise gives us the meanings, and we should provide and write the words which mean these expressions or sentences. So we said that number one, the expression on the way, which you can find in the text of page 47, means while they were driving to the house. And we have, yes, lesson 5, of course. It's okay, Lana. And we have the word noticed, which means so. Number 2. And number 3, strange means new things. New to him, sorry. Now, number 4, the opposite of modern. Give me a word that you find in the text. Yes, then it is old, but now we are, as you know, then we are speaking about the text itself. I mean, you should take certain words from the text, which means the following. So in the text, you only have the word traditional, which is the opposite of modern. Okay, so the answer of number 4 is traditional. Exactly, just like Awab said. Now, number 5, names and notices. Names and notices. Names and notices. Not sing, yeah, Awab. As we said, they are the signs. The signs. How to write signs? S-I-G-N-S. S-I-G-N-S. Signs, not just like Awab has written it. Yes, Awab, write your messages to everyone so that they can uh, know what you are writing, okay? Signs. And now number 6, did not know the meaning of. Did not know the meaning of. Give me an expression or the words which mean the following from the text. Do we need to read it again? Let me read the two texts and try to find the expression which means did not know the meaning of. Yuki introduced Fuad to his parents at the airport. Then they all went to Yuki's uncle's house by car. Yuki's father drove the car on the left. On the way, Fuad noticed many other strange things. Some people were wearing traditional clothes. The signs above the shops were in Japanese. Fuad could not understand a word, but it was a very interesting journey. At the house, Fuad and his father met the rest of Yuki's family. Yuki's uncle is a huge man. At first, Fuad was a little afraid of him, but Mr. Mitsubishi was very kind and friendly. Yuki's brother Jiro is 16. He is tall, thin, and very quiet. His sister Riko is the opposite. She is 7 and she talks a lot. She spoke to Fuad in Japanese because she does not speak English. She loves a lot. She laughs a lot too. Everyone was very friendly. So now, let us do number 6. Did not know a word of. I did not know the meaning of. If you couldn't understand a word, yes, exactly, Zain. Could not understand the word, exactly. So now, number 7, the other people in Yuki's family. The other people, when you, what is meant, or what is the word or the expression in the text which means the other people? The other people. The rest, yes, exactly, the rest. بقية, the rest. And number 8, frightened by. What is the word which means frightened by? Frightened by. It's okay, Adam. Frightened by. Give me a word from the text which means frightened by. Yes, exactly. Afraid of. Afraid of means frightened by. So that was exercise A of the activity book. Now let us move to the other exercise. But before that, We are going to lose the connection, unfortunately. So give me your names quickly. Your names quickly before we end this lesson and get back. Your names quickly. One. Okay, I will end this meeting and please get back, okay? So see you in a minute. Okay, welcome back. What about the others? They are absent. Okay, so now let us do exercise B. Exercise B tells us to answer the questions concerning the text of page 47 of the student's book. So, number 1. What was the first strange thing that Fuad noticed? Now, it all depends on your comprehension of the text. So, what was the first strange thing that Fuad noticed? You remember when Fuad arrived at the airport and then Yuki and his father and his mother took him to Yuki's uncle's house. So Fuad noticed certain things on the way, as we said. So what was the first thing, what the first strange that Fuad noticed? The answer is cars drive on the left, or the cars there drive on the left, right? Because as you know, they are different from us. They are just like um, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so they are just like the case in okay in Britain when the cars are on the left. So the first strange thing that Fuad noticed on the way is that the cars are on the left. The cars drive on the left. Number 2. Who are these people, if you remember? A. Mr. Mitsubishi, and this is not a car. Mr. Mitsubishi. No, Zen. We read about Mitsubishi in the second text. Who was Mr. Mitsubishi? Yuki's uncle, but you have to write it well next time. Yeah, Awab. So, Mr. Mitsubishi is Yuki's uncle. B. Jiro. Who's Jiro? Who's Jiro? B. He is Yuki's brother. Yes, Zain. Yuki's brother. He is Yuki's brother. Now, who is Rico? See, who is Rico? Yes, Zain. Rico is Yuki's sister. Now, number 3. Who is A, the tallest person in Yuki's family? You remember when we studied the comparative and superlative sentences? So this is a superlative sentence. Comparative and superlative adjectives. So this is a superlative adjective, of which the positive adjective is tall, and here we have the superlative adjective, which is tallest. Because we are speaking about someone among a group, so we use the superlative adjective. And who is the tallest person in Yuki's family? He is Mr. Mitsubishi, who is Yuki's uncle. Now B, who is the youngest? Who is the youngest among them? Who's the youngest among them? Reiko. Yes. Yes, Adam. His sister, Reiko. So now let us do exercise C. Let us label these 6 people. Each one of them, by now you can identify them from the descriptions. So we have the first one here on the right hand. He is Yuki. So who is this woman? What do you think? Who is this woman? Who is this woman? Who is this woman? Yuki is what, Adam? Yuki is mother. And who is this? This is Yuki's father, right? Because as you remember of what Fuad said, that his father always wears a dark suit, right? And who is this? He is Yuki's brother, Jiro, right? And what about this? The youngest among them all. She is Yuki's sister, whose name is Reiko, and who is the tallest and huge man in the family. He is Mr. Mitsubishi, his uncle. Yes, exactly. So let us do this comparison between these people of exercise D. Compare the people in Yuki's family. Use the correct forms of these adjectives to complete the sentences. You know how to make comparative and superlative adjectives, right? So we have these adjectives here: young, tall, plump, big, small, short, and old. And what is meant by, all of these adjectives, I think they are familiar to you, you know them. But what is meant by plump? Plump is another polite way to say fat, because it's impolite to tell someone that they are fat, right? So you should use the word plump. Yes, awab. But it is a polite way of saying fat. So let us do number 1. Yuki is Jiro. but Reiko. So Yuki is, this is Yuki on the right hand, in your right hand, the first one, and this is Jiro, and this is uh, Rico, right? So you should choose one of these sentences to put here, and you should make it or use the correct form of this adjective. Here we have Yuki and Jiro, so we have a comparative adjective. So you should say Yuki is younger than Jiro, right? Because we know that Jiro is older than him. But what is the, yes, Awab. But what is the relationship between, or the comparison, how to compare Yuki to Reiko? You say, but he is older than Reiko. So Yuki is younger than Jiro, but older than Reiko, right? Number 2, Mrs. Uno is, and then Mr. Uno. So this is Mrs. Uno, this is Mr. Uno. Okay, Awab. Mrs. Uno is shorter than Mr. Uno. Shorter and what? No. Zan says shorter, yes, exactly. And the other one is plumper, yes. She is, you can look at them in this description, this picture, and you can decide what adjectives that you should use. So she is shorter and plumper. Now, number 3, Mr. Mitsubishi is, then Mr. Uno is what? Choose one of these sentences. Sorry, one of these adjectives. He is bigger, so he is bigger than Mr. Uno, right? Because we know that he is taller, but we are speaking about the size, not only the length. So he is bigger than Mr. Uno, right? Mr. Mitsubishi is bigger than Mr. Uno. Now Reiko is the what? She is the smallest person in the family. And Mr. Bishi is the tallest, right? She's younger, but we have used the adjective young. Adam, we have used the adjective young before, so we have to use another one. Remember that we have to take the adjective from this box, so we are left with the adjective small and tall. So Rico is the smallest person in the family, and Mr. Mitsubishi is the tallest one, right? So that's it, I think. Next, we have lesson 6. Lesson 6 is about Fuad's first meal in Japan. He is at Yuki's uncle's house, as you know. So I think we are running out of time today. Inshallah, next time we will study this lesson and the other ones quickly. So by Sunday, inshallah, we will end unit 6 to start a new unit. Okay? So that's it for today. Do you have any question? You don't have any question? Okay, since you don't have any question, so thank you for joining today's lesson and see you next time.